Oh, yeah. What's going on, y'alls? Thanks for coming back to the Solomon Project, where it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. That counts. I'm your host, Richard Burns. Don't forget to hit that like button. I know in the beginning of the video, I had my little call to action, little piece, but just a little reminder, hit that thing. Yeah, so for all my truckers out there, it's gonna be a little piece for the truckers right now. This is interesting. This is interesting. This is a demonstration as to why you should stay away from your feels when you're making decisions that will impact your business and your finances. By the way, this is not financial advice. This is not investment advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Right now we're westbound on I-40. We're quickly approaching Knoxville, Tennessee, y'alls. A year ago, maybe more than a year ago, probably more than a year ago, throughout the campaign, throughout the presidential campaign, propaganda was being hurled left and right. The most aggressive of the propagandas was on the Republican side. Very, very aggressive. I want to make a distinction between people who voted for Trump and MAGA. They're different. There are people that voted for Trump that weren't necessarily supporters of Trump. They might have voted for Trump for reasons that had nothing to do with, I don't know, appreciating the personality. But then you got MAGA. That's a straight up cult. Period. If you're a MAGA, you're in a cult. Bottom line. Again, I want to reiterate. There are people that voted for Trump that were not Trump supporters per se. They just felt that it was a better option and they voted for Trump. So they're not like MAGA. Let's get that clear. So let's move forward with the I'm sorry to go in a different direction with this. I've listened to my videos and this is like ASMR. This stuff can put people to sleep. There's some I gotta figure out how to cancel that noise. But there's some noise while I'm driving that I guess impacts people and puts them to sleep. Anyway, going back to what I was saying. More than a year ago, while the campaigning was going on, I'm listening to people on their platforms, other truckers and their platforms, and they're talking about getting into their own truck, leasing a truck, purchasing a truck, becoming an owner-operator, a lease operator, getting their own authority. A lot of truck drivers encouraging others to get involved in the trucking industry as a business, not as an employee of a business. Okay. My comment in many of those trucking channels was that I'm going to wait to see who wins the election. If Kamala wins the election, I will get into a truck. I will, bare minimum, become a lease operator. But if Trump wins, I'm going to remain as a company driver. For those of you who don't know, I had my own authority for a few years with people working under my authority. So I have an understanding as to the expenses associated with having your own trucking company. And so I responded by saying that if Trump wins, I will hold off and not get into a truck. And I kept it as I said it. I am a company driver, and I've been checking into all those trucking channels that were encouraging everybody prior to the results of the elections, and they're not very happy right now. They're not very happy. When I made my decision, when I spoke on my decision, it had nothing to do with feelings. Nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with previous conditions during the Trump administration in his first go around, and things that were happening in the economy back then, along with his association with the Heritage Foundation and what they were planning on doing, which is Project 2025, all 900 pages. I didn't read the 900 pages, but there were things in Project 2025 that did not look profitable, or painted a picture that did not produce a profitable image for me. So I made the decision of staying as a company driver. Now, one of the big things that everybody kept pushing, that and they were all claiming from day one that he takes power, a laundry list of things were going to happen. And right now, what a lot of people are saying within his administration, they're saying things that they weren't saying during the campaign, but somehow they switched it. And of course, MAGA is agreeing with that. One of those things is that, well, there's going to be pain before everything fixes itself. Listen, that's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. That's not what you said. That's not what you sold. Or that's not what you were selling. No, you said day one. I'm not surprised that it didn't happen day one. And that hasn't changed the popular perception that politicians are always lying. Nothing's changed there. Although a promise is really not a lie. But some of those promises didn't make sense. If you're a trucker and you were believing the nonsense when they were saying drill baby drill, that was absolute nonsense. And that's not that difficult to figure out. unless you're in a cult. It's absolute nonsense. If you own a business, you're owning a business to generate profit. That's pretty simple, isn't it? It's a simple concept. You buy whatever ingredients you need to make whatever it is that you're making. You do the math. For every item that I make, it's going to cost me $20. That's for every item that I make. So after purchasing the ingredients, after making whatever batch that I'm making, each item costs me $20 to make. Now there are other costs, like your time. The time you dedicate to make your product, you have to include in your cost of operation. So let's just add another $2 per hour. So maybe it takes you an hour, maybe it doesn't take you an hour, whatever. Let's just simplify this and say now the product is up to $22. Okay? Are you going to ship your product? How are you going to ship your product? Maybe the cost of your of whatever it is that you're making per item just went up from $22 to $25. Okay, let's just stop right there. So it's going to cost you $25 per item for you to purchase the necessary items that you need to make it, the time it takes you to make it, plus shipping the item. $25, right? Let's keep it simple. Do you plan on making a profit? I mean, that's the whole point of having a business, isn't it? You want to make a profit, don't you? So if $25 is your operational cost, whatever, $25. If you want to sell the item, are you going to sell it for $25? Now, you can debate about how much profit you should get per item. You can debate all you want. Let's just say you want to add another $15 because you want to make $15 of profit per item. So now that item now costs someone who wishes to purchase it $40. So it's costing you, as a person interested in purchasing the product, $40. And now somebody comes along and it's telling everybody, hey, we know you love this item right here. You've been paying $40 an item. We're going to get it down dramatically. We're going to get it down to $20 an item. Yeah. Every person who has been purchasing that item and they hear that, yeah, they're going to go crazy. Now you, the person that manufactures the item, just because that other person said it's going to go down to $20, you down with that? Are you down? You'll be operating at a loss of $5 per item. At a loss. You're down with that? Are you running a charity? What exactly are you doing? So this person is saying, yeah, we're going to bring it down dramatically. So now they're talking about drill, baby, drill. Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Does anybody here know what it costs to produce oil, to extract oil? Does anybody know? Per barrel. Here in the United States, per barrel, it costs, on average, $40 a barrel. Now, if you go on, matter of fact, if you go on Yahoo Finance, you can check to see what the price of a barrel is right now. Let's run it. Go ahead, check it out. Check and see what the price of a barrel is. Now you got two different prices. One is Brent oil. Let's take $68.30. Crude oil. That's not Brent. But crude oil, the futures, which expires April 25th, is going for $68.30. Now you got all these trucking channels going around saying, yeah, drill, baby, drill. That's the way to go. That's what we need to vote for. Because of drill, baby, drill? That's what you're voting for? That's not smart at all. What are you thinking? The oil companies are just gonna voluntarily just lower their prices? Hell no, they're not. What are they in business for? They don't run a charity. Because all these people went ahead and believed that propaganda, they're just going to lower their prices? They're just going to start putting out oil for $40 a barrel, the same amount that it costs them to extract it and contain it? See, this is where people, a lot of these truck drivers were all up in their fields, angry. Yeah, this is the way to go. If you want to be an investor and you want to be a business owner, you can't be all up in your fields. You got to see things for what they are. I've even visited a trucking company owner that was repeating that nonsense. Drill, baby, drill. Are you kidding me? You're a business owner. Well, maybe I don't know if they believed it or not. If they did, shame on that person, but if they were just doing that to be able to sell their subscribers on some idea, I don't know what idea it was, but absolute nonsense. Drill, baby, drill. Yeah, the prices go. We're in March. The prices have gone down, but it's nothing to write home about. It's nothing to write home about, and it's starting to tick back up again. So the diesel prices are really not going down substantially like that. And to top it all off, you might think you're saving, but as a truck driver, owner operator, or having your own authority, what's going on with the rates? The shipping rates, have they gone up? Have they gone down? The shipping rates haven't gone up. If you were struggling before, you're still struggling now. And on top of that, I've been hearing from truckers that not only are the rates too low, but the availability is also low. Guys, that whole business of tariffs may have a lot to do with that. Keep in mind, from the time the Trump administration started talking about tariffs, what were businesses here in the United States doing? They were ordering extra stuff before the tariffs kicked in. That way they can have enough of a supply. Are they going to lower their prices because they got it up front at a lower at whatever price they're getting it now? I doubt it very much. What I suspect they will do is that once the tariffs kick in, if they do kick in, prices are definitely going to go up. But all those items that these businesses bought at the price before the tariffs kicked in, they're going to sell it at the same price that the newly delivered goods, which have the tariff on it, they're going to raise it to that price. Now, why would they do that? Because it's more profit. So long as they keep their mouths shut, don't make a big deal about it, not enough people are going to come and say, hey, wait a minute. You got this. You got these items imported into the country before the tariffs kicked in. Let's say each item cost $20 before the tariff, and now it costs $25 with the tariff. Why are you charging us that extra $5 or that extra $10 if they're going to make a profit? Why? So you were selling this very item. You were selling it. It was coming into the country at $20 per item. You were selling it for $40. Now with the tariff, you're paying $25 and you're selling it for $50. That's inflationary, by the way, guys. But wait a minute. Hold on a second. You've got 2 months worth of stuff. It'll take you 2 months to get rid of the stuff that you got when you bought it at 20. But you're not waiting 2 months to charge us at 25. Coming in at 25. So you got 2 months that you can charge the customers $40 an item. But you're not waiting 2 months. You're charging people right off the rip, the 50. So your business is pocketing an extra 10. Right off the rip when you can wait 2 months. Hey, that's how big businesses operate. That's how big businesses operate. And you still buy it. You still buy it. So what are they going to do? They're going to keep charging you. And if they can get away with charging you even more than $50 an item, if they see that you'll still buy it, they will increase the price. Excuse me. They want to make that profit. I hope you're not under the impression that these corporations are feeling like they need to look out for us. I hope you're not thinking that. That's not how corporations work. If you don't know, they're not going to step in and explain it to you. They're not going to educate you on what's really going on. They're going to let you decide. If you're an impulsive or a compulsive consumer, they're going to let you rock. They're going to let you do your thing. Yeah, one person might come into the business saying, hey, man, I really know what's going on. You should be charging $40 per item, but you're charging $50, $55, $60. That's just wrong. Okay, you're one out of 100,000 customers. What the hell do we care if you know or not? Because the other 999,999, they're still buying it. And they're willing to pay more. So, whatever. Oh, well, I'm going to show everybody what you're doing. Go ahead. Maybe we'll lose 2 or 3. So what? The population here in this country, they're impulsive and compulsive when it comes to buying. Their purchasing is attached to their emotions. So good luck with that. Because we know of one guy and one lady out there, okay, that are trying to educate people, and people ain't listening to them. I mean, they're still there. You know, the Solomon Project is still there. Tower of Helms is still there. Trying to educate people. But it doesn't matter. Because the average person is emotionally attached to their purchasing. Drill, baby, drill. What absolute nonsense. The price of oil has been range bound. What does that mean? That means it's been as low as one price and as high as another price. And it's been sticking right in between those two. Hasn't been going much higher than that, and hasn't been going much lower than that. So drill, baby, drill. Yeah. Folks, stay fresh and keep it profitable. Will you please do that at least? Peace.
Arabam Dacia, seviyorum çift kalem aça. Göremedi kimseden fayda. İşler